Oh, I want to. Then you can do that. Yes. Yes, I am, Marvin. I am over this side. I was trying to see if I could do the stream, but it wasn't working out. So I'm coming over this side too. You know, it's been a while since I actually did a live on my original page. So yeah, so I am here. So how are you doing? I don't know who is on, but all right. So who is on here? Is that you, Marvin, or somebody else? Um, let me get this book going. Not a book, but yeah. Okay, good, good, good. So this is the thing with oh, I think you can actually share it. How do you share it? See? You have to copy the link and then you have to share it with whatever. So how come you're not gonna sleep it? And then I can do it on. Hola, hola. How are you guys doing? If you don't mind just saying who you are, where you're joining in from. Oh, I never plan to come on like that. Just that I'm not in the mood to sleep right now. So I'm gonna come over here and hang out for a little bit before I go to my bed. Yeah. Yeah, there are a few more persons here. If you don't mind, hi, welcome. My name is Stacy, or ThinkNursing. All right. I'm a nurse, and welcome to my page. All right, I do hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, just go ahead and double tap your screen just to give the video a like. I don't know why this phone seems like there is something in front of me. It's not my glasses. I don't know what's up with it. Like there's a glare on the screen. I don't know what it is. Okay, okay, so there you go. I guess we have a lot of persons that are, you know, night owls. Yeah, I think because of night shift that still stick around and hang out with me until now. Edward the franchise. Yo, Wagwan, how are you doing? Welcome to my page. All right. Hi everyone, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's nice to see so many persons on the live. If you don't mind, can you just go ahead and just double tap? Not asking for much, just one. All right, so just double tap, and if you're not gonna hang out, that's fine. I totally understand. All right, totally understand. But I share nursing content over here. I'm a nurse, trained in Jamaica. Then I transitioned here to the States in 2016. Been working as an emergency room nurse. I'm a nurse practitioner, so I do house call services, and I do enjoy it. There are days, you know, you're doing house calls, so there are days when it's gonna be uh, not the best, honestly, but I do enjoy every aspect of being a nurse. All right. I don't know if you've gone through my page as yet, but there's so many things that I talk about over here for the new nurse, you know, the ones that I transition in. And I also share my story growing up in Jamaica, and yeah, and where I'm heading in terms of my channel or with my page. So definitely go ahead and subscribe. I'd love for you to do that. I'm trying to see also that probably I can, you know, eventually get a foundation going. So that's going to be a part of my page. I want to give back to my community, you know, I want to give back to Jamaica in general. And by extension, you know, other persons around the world, because I kind of see myself doing something good. And I also want to do a podcast. So I want to talk with a lot of nurses or healthcare workers, but mainly nurses to start out with, just to kind of bring, you know, an insight into the field of nursing. So for persons who have an interest and don't know much about, you know, what we do as nurses, because a lot of times we just think that we walk around in, like, you know, the fixed scrub, the standing cup, the stethoscope, and look cute all the time. No, you have nurses out there that are doing some really good things. They are doing wonderful jobs out there, but a lot of times it's not being recognized. So I want to talk with a lot of nurses. I want to talk with nurses here in the States. I want to recognize my Jamaican nurses. And, you know, as far as I can go, I want to interview or just have a sit down or chit chat with the nurses. And that's it. And for persons just to kind of share their story, their upbringing, you know, as a form of motivating others. Yeah, so things like that I want to do on my page. But bear with me, as I say, you know, social media is a lot. Honestly, it's a lot. And some days I never expected it to be like this overwhelming. I'm sorry I haven't been like consistent with a lot of things that I want to do. I have the content, but some days it's so hard to get the content edited and, you know, get it up in a timely manner. But I'm trying to work on the consistency with it. I've been like, you know, removing content from the page, saving them to my hard drive, and trying to edit them and then upload them. But you'll see me upload my videos that are like 1 hour, 3 hours long, because those are live streams that I did on my TT. So you have to follow me on TikTok. All right, follow me on TikTok. It's ThinkNursing1. It's one word. I share short form content over there. It's a little bit easier to use the platform, so that's how I end up, you know, doing most of my content over there now. And then I try to get them over to YT here, so I can get some organization and everything going. But for now, as I say, I'm doing some live stream, and it is filled with a lot of content regarding traveling or transitioning to the States here. So it's very interactive, where persons do come on the live and be asking questions, talking about, you know, the experience working in different parts of the world. You know, I have persons, like I have a young lady who is in the UK who is planning on transitioning here, explaining, you know, how things are as a psych nurse in the UK. I also have somebody who is in Kenya, you know, who is experiencing retrogression. There are so many things that I discuss in those videos. But as I said, they're so long, it's hard for me to go ahead and edit them or cut them up in small pieces so you and I can actually sit them down and watch them in 5 minutes. Yeah, it's a little bit hard. It's a little bit difficult to do so, because a lot of times live, I never really planned to have the live for so long, if you understand. But because of, you know, the constant questions that, you know, persons are asking and I'm just answering, it turns out to be a live that is just packed with a lot of information. And I say, I'm just gonna upload it. If persons are really interested in the content, I know you can watch it over a few days, or, you know, you can always go back to it and finish it up. But definitely check it out if you're a new nurse, if you are transitioning into the States here. It has a lot of information in them. I try to play them, live stream them, like, you know, on Sundays or during the week. I try to live stream one video because, as I say, sometimes it's like 2 hours. And on the weekends, what I'm trying to do is live stream them for the entire day. So I know it's a lot. I will try to live stream them throughout the day so you can always jump on and watch it, you know, and it's just there playing. But definitely check them out, all right? And if you're a nurse or if you're a student, you know, you have an interest and hi Edward, thank you for that. Thank you for that. If you have an interest in you know, nursing, or you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and leave them in the comment box below. I think on my page also I have my number, so you can feel free to go ahead and text me as long as it's something related to, you know, nursing, traveling, lifestyle content that I'm sharing. Or if you just want to say hi, you know, I'm open to it, but make sure it's, you know, something that I will respond to. Let's just say, all right, because I know a lot of times we kind of have the information, we think that because it's there, we kind of use it differently. But definitely it is more for if you need information, if you want to share something, if you want to be a part of my channel where you want to share your story, you know, one-on-one with me, and I show it on my my podcast, then that's what my number is there for. All right. So definitely reach out to me. And if you're looking for somebody to help with transitioning, you know, questions like that, coaching, just, you know, then definitely reach out to me and I will help you along the way. I hope that clears it up. All right. I know it was a mouthful, but I hope you know, you understand. All right. So Edward franchise, are you still here? Where are you from? So that's the thing. You see over by TT, you know, I could say, do you want to come on the live? And you can just send an invite, or I send an invite and you just pop up and we have a conversation and it just feels real. Because no, I know I've done a live, I've done a few live on TikTok, on YouTube here. And I've been, you know, I did it and it was okay. But now it kind of feels weird because I've experienced what it is like going live on TikTok. You understand? So no, I feel like I'm talking, I'm just talking to the screen and I'm not seeing my friends popping up over the side here to say they want to come on the live. You know, that kind of way? Yeah, so that's just it right now. But yeah, I am going to be here for a little bit. And from there, we'll see how this goes. But thank you, Edward, if you're still here, if you're gone, you know, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate you sending that. I don't even know how, but yeah. I wanted to, oh yeah. See, I pressed the heart on it. Okay. All right. But do you have any questions? Anybody have any questions that they want to ask? So we're talking about, I'm not going to talk about the same thing because we're going to upload that video over to here. That one is about retrogression. The one I did was about retrogression and how, you know, it's affecting international nurses. So basically, if you're experiencing that where, you know, you're applying through or applying with a recruiting company and there is a delay because, you know, there's so many persons that have applied for a green card and the country is only being issued certain amount, so you have you know, significant delay in persons receiving their green card. When you apply for that visa, they're not approving it, then that's what we're talking about. What I was saying in the meantime is what you can do. Don't let it seem as though, you know, you're wasting time. Don't feel as though, you know, you must give up because you've been waiting 1 year, 2 years, or 4 years, as for some persons that I've spoken to. I know it's long and it's depressing and you feel as though you want to jump, you know, jump to some other company because some other persons were asking the same thing, like seeing that the retrogression is going on, if I think they should move to another recruiting company. And I was like, no, because at the end of the day, it's the same US that is, you know, issuing those green cards. So if you move to another company, it's going to still affect that company because the retrogression is not affected, it's not because of the companies that are, you know, it's not because of the recruiting company. It is something that is based on, you know, the country. So the country is being issued a certain amount of green cards And once that has been, you know, it's done, then there is no more. Then if you have excess amount of persons who have been applying for their green card, then those persons are not going to be able to get a green card because the ones that they have for the country would have been like, you know, done. So it's not really a recruiting company problem. It's more of a US and whichever country you're at problem. All right. So do not, you know, jump and say, okay, I'm going to move to this company. The only thing I can think of is, as I was saying, you probably can think about going to another country and see if the retrogression is affecting those countries as well. And then if not, then you can always go there and spend some time and then hopefully try to get to the States if this is where your, you know, your final destination is going to be. But then you have to take into consideration as well that you have that contract that you sign with the recruiting company. That contract is also there that is active. So you're going to have to get that one inactive, or you're going to have to pay off that company depending on what the penalties are. You know, you're going to have to deal with that. So you basically have two companies or recruiting agencies that you'll be working with during that time while you're transitioning, which you really don't want to be doing, because while you're transitioning, you know, you have a lot of expenses. So just imagine paying off a recruiting company because, you know, of the retrogression, and then going with another company, then you know, you have additional expenses to deal with. Hi guys, thank you so much for tuning in. How are you doing? If you don't mind, just say where you're joining in from. That would be nice. All right, that would be nice. I'm Stacy if you're new here. I'm a Jamaican nurse working in the US. All right. And that's just it. So, yeah. So I said I was gonna do 4 notes. Probably tomorrow I'll finish them. I'll finish them tomorrow. And then from there. But are you still here, Marvin? Is it you here or are you sleeping? All right. Oh, let me see if I can pin this thing down here. How do I pin this comment? Marijuana panicana, make you smarter. Does make you smarter. I'm listening to this song, but I don't want to play it. I'm listening to some music. But I'm playing Marijuana panicana. Some really nice conscious, you know, music, but you know, 1 and 2 times you might hear 1 and 2 words. Yeah. Hello, how are you doing? Where are you joining in from? I'm trying, how do I pin comments here again? See, it's been a while since I've done a live. This is so bad. Oh, pin message, okay. No, I don't want to pin that message. Unpin that message. Oh, I think I have to go on a different platform. Hi, how are you doing? I have to probably go on my computer to do that. Where are you joining in from, if you don't mind me asking? All right, so Hi. How are you? Okay, so this side. So you can follow me on TikTok at ThinkNursing1. All right. So, do you have any questions? What you want to talk about? All right, so I'll probably just go through what I was talking about on my live. All right, so we're talking about some of the things that you definitely need in terms of, you move into the States here as an international nurse, if that is something that you want to do. I transitioned here to the States, so I'm just using my experience with, you know, with guiding you if you're going to be taking up this opportunity. All right, so the first thing you want to do is make sure that you go ahead and go through your paper, your checklist, to make sure you have all the necessary documents to get to the States here, to the country that you're wanting to go. All right, so after you've done your NCLEX, usually takes about, let's say 4 weeks for them to actually process your results. So you do your NCLEX and they take about that time period. Then sometimes you can actually go ahead and get your results a little bit early. So depending on how fast you want to get it, you can try to pay for that service to get it probably like in 2 days, 1 day, so you can know the results. All right, so what you can do to help with getting your paperwork started or processed in a timely manner is just make sure you're keeping up to date with um the requirements. All right, find out if you're working with a recruiting company, always just go ahead and find out what it is that they need so they can actually get your application processed in a timely manner, and then from there. All right, once you do your NCLEX, remember you have to do like your CGFNS. You have to send in all of the paperwork that you need for CGFNS for them to actually check to make sure that your nursing license or your degree itself, meets the standard for the international or for the US here. And then usually after that, you have to apply for your visa. And depending on the country that you're from, then retrogression usually is something that some persons are experiencing, which is causing like, a delay. But while you're in retrogression, just think about working on your skills, think about working on time management, think about, getting extra certifications that are still able to, be used here in the States. So don't look at it as, your life coming to a pause or a standstill. It's more of there is just like you say with the timeline in which you should be getting here to the state, and that's what you're just gonna be using. Just try to think positive about the whole situation. All right. I know it can be depressing, especially if you're waiting for a long time. Just find other things to improve on in the meantime until you get a chance to transition to the States. All right. And then from there, but a lot of times, when you get past that, oh, I was saying that, while the retrogression is going on, I know a lot of times tend to forget that there are expiration dates that are with certain things that are in the package that you definitely need to bring to immigration. So like your police record, depending on your country. In my country, I think it's valid up to 1 year. You want to look at also your license to make sure that it's not expired in the 2 years and it's not renewed. You want to make sure you're renewing all of those things, keeping up to date with the dates to prevent you from getting inactive. You understand? Your BLS, ACLS, all of those certificates, you want to make sure that they are active. So always keep an eye on the expiration dates so that way you don't get out of retrogression and then when you go to the embassy or you go to the immigration office, you hear that you have expired documents. Constantly be checking those, reaching out to your recruiting company to make sure that they are aware of what's going on. They can keep you up to date with what's going on, and then from there. All right, so on the time, as I say, you might have an impact on your timeline when it comes on to retrogression, but the normal timeline without retrogression is that usually you do your NCLEX, you do your English exam, you also submit your credentials, they verify your license, you receive a job letter, you apply for your visa, and then you are able to travel and work and, you know, do everything else. The entire process for me, it took roughly 1 year, about a 1 year from the time I paid for the application for the immigration visa. And then I left, like, so I did that like in the February, and got approval and left like the June, no, it wasn't June, the September of the same year. So the approval time period was pretty quick for me, I guess. Some persons are saying it's long, but I think it was pretty okay. You understand? Because after you get your green card, then you have not green card, you get your visa approval, you have 6 months in the country, and then you're able to leave after. All right, well, not after the 6 months, you have to leave within the 6 months. All right, so with retrogression, you know, a lot of times, as I say, it's affecting the part where you're applying for your visa, and because you're not able to get your approval for your visa, then you have a lot of delays. And for some persons, it can take months, it can take years. It depends on, you know, where you're at. It depends on where you're at and the amount of visas that are issued by the US to that country. So you have to take that into consideration. So remember that while everything else is on hold, you did sign a contract, you did sign an agreement with a recruiting company that is also, you know, basically on hold as well, if you want to call it that, but in terms of not with the company, but in terms of you starting your job, getting a house, getting a car, you know, you moving, all of that is at a standstill because of that. All right, so some things that can happen when you have retrogression is that, you know, as I say, you might not be able to start your job, because without you getting that approval for your green card, you won't be able to start that job. And so you might have, you know, issues with your finances, because a lot of times you might be planning, and you know, you're making all of those relocation plans, and then all of this happens. So, you know, it can affect your finances. Contracts, you know, might have clauses that allows for the rates that they sign you up with for it to actually get freeze. So for example, you did sign a contract, and the contract says they're going to pay you $15 an hour, and this was in 2020, and now it's 2025. Depending on if you never if you never read a contract, you might realize that 2026, after they lift that retrogression, it might be a case where that same $15 is what you're going to be paid at. You understand? Because of the clause that are in the contract that you probably never had gotten a chance to read in full, you know, in detail and understand it. Or even if you did read it, you never knew that 4 years later you'd still be, you know, in your country. Because probably 4 years ago, you could have said, okay, then I can work with $15 for 2 years because you really want the opportunity. But 6 years later, you're still in your country, the rate is still $15, you know, you're not going to really want that. So the hope is that with retrogression going on, hopefully companies will go ahead and try to renew, increase, you know, the rates for some of these persons, because if they're paying like, you know, that amount of money back then and now, it won't be making sense for a lot of person. All right, it's like you're gonna be back at square one, especially if you're from a family that doesn't have it, and you're thinking that this is the only hope for you and your family, and then only to realize when you get here you're not making any money. It don't make no sense. You understand? It don't make any sense. Then you want to also look at, when it comes on to your English exams, you also want to look at your NCLEX. As I said, you definitely want to keep an eye on those, make sure they're not expiring, because if they do expire, become inactive, it's always difficult for you to actually get them reactivated, or it's a little bit, you know, expensive to do them over. So just make sure you're keeping an eye on your dates for all of your certifications, you know, your license that are for the US here or for whichever country you're going to, and they're experiencing any form of retrogression, because you want to make sure once that retrogression has been lifted, everything is active when you go into immigration, and they're not going to be saying that, oh, well, you don't have a, you know, a job offer anymore, or you don't have this anymore, you don't have that anymore, because all of those have been expired and you didn't get them renewed. All right. And then, as I say, a lot of times you might find out that person's, career actually kind of is at a standstill, or, they're kind of going downhill, or they just feel as though they're going backward. The momentum itself, it slows down because they are not able to advance their career because of certain things. For example, like the CRNA program in one country, it might not be recognized in the US here. So if you are wanting to become a CRNA in your country and you probably had the money to go to school, but you get the opportunity to, get a job here with a recruiting company in the state, you probably sign on to that contract and be like, yeah, I'm going to go over in 1 year, 2 years, I might be in school and all those things. So you hold off on your CRNA, but then while you sign your contract, you realize that you're in retrogression. 4 years later, you're still in your own country. So basically your dreams just feel as though, it's not, you're not getting and not progressing towards your dreams, your goals. And so you might find, yourself feeling depressed. You might find yourself in a situation where, as I say, it's like you're at a standstill. But as I say, use the opportunity to go ahead and get your skills sharpened up. Go ahead and get the opportunity, or use the opportunity to improve on your English language, especially for persons who are, the English language is not their primary language. Go ahead and try to improve on that. Make sure you're working on your skills, get experience. If you know that you wanted to become a CRNA and you're not going to be able to do the program, no, go find a job in ICU, be close to some of those medications, the machines, understand certain things. So get the experience that you need. So once you transition here, it's a little bit easier for you, and the experience can be a little bit better when you get here. So just use the opportunity to improve, to grow in the field while you're waiting on this, retrogression to kind of get lifted. All right, the other thing is definitely go ahead and make sure you're staying up to date with the bulletin when it comes on to the USCIS, so you can actually know where your priority date is. You understand? It's the same thing with the recruiting company. Go ahead, reach out to them, find out different things, hear what they're saying, because sometimes they probably have more insight into certain things regarding immigration than you do, because they might have a lawyer on team that is able to explain certain things a little bit better for you to understand. So definitely keep a close eye, on the bulletin, as well as keep them close by, so you can have that information handy. All right, and as I say, a lot of times just work on your skills, your certifications, and then most importantly, networking. During this time, find all of the folks that you definitely can talk to regarding, their experience transitioning from one country to the other. Hear about how they deal with housing, getting a car, credit card, their credit score, how to build, and all of those things. So find out from persons who have, experienced it, because real life story is what, they sell that better than anything else. You understand? If somebody is able to tell you what they've been through, you will have a better understanding. You can ask that person more question than, the recruiting company come and tell you this is what is happening, and they don't really experience it for themselves. You understand? Because most of the time they're here and they're just telling you something good. You understand? And they just know that a lot of us need the opportunity. So whatever they say is what we're going to run with. You understand? So if you can find persons who have transitioned, even if it is not to the state that you're going, just make sure you go ahead and ask 1 or 2 questions, just to hear how things are, how they deal with the orientation phase, how they're going in terms of with documentation, dealing with the EMR, especially if you're from a country that does, paper charting. Ask about the electronic records, things like those, insurance, find out about childcare, all of those things that is very important to you and your family when you come in here. So that way, at least, you'll have a better idea, and you'll know what to ask, know what to look forward in terms of if you're leasing a car, if you're leasing an apartment, things like that. Ask the necessary questions. All right. So networking is going to be very, very important. There are different platforms you can go on for networking. There are different forums you can go on as well. But definitely you have your TikTok, you have YouTube here, you have Instagram, Twitter, Lime, all of those things. Go over there. You understand? And network with persons and just get more information. All right. Um, and that's what I was talking about earlier in one. And then from there, any questions? Thank you so much for tuning in. If you don't mind just tapping up the live, I would really appreciate that. And if you haven't subscribed as yet, I would love for you to go ahead and subscribe to my page here at Think Nursing. And you can also follow me on TikTok at ThinkNursing1. All right. And as I say, I'm a nurse. I'm an international nurse. I work as an emergency room nurse for years. And now I'm doing house call as a nurse practitioner. It's going okay. All right. And I do share stories regarding them. I try to upload them as best as possible. But, you know, share your insight or just comment or say something under the videos. All right. So I also talk about, because I'm trying to do a series regarding a transition series for nurses. So I've uploaded the videos already. As I say, they're very long. Just take your time and listen to the videos. If you're a nurse and you're interested, just go and ask, you know, just go and sit down and listen to the question. Get some popcorn and just start munching it and watch the videos and get the information. It's very interactive because there are persons who are nurses, different places, you know, asking questions on the live, and we're just kind of chit-chatting and having fun at the same time. So definitely check it out and be a part of it. I try to go live, you know, I'm trying to be consistent for, you know, the 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock during that time period for at least 1 hour. On Thursdays, we're trying to do a live that is going to be more for like studying. So we'll go through questions. It will benefit persons who are doing the NCLEX or even the RENR, which is a regional exam. So definitely come over there and sit down and hang out with us, you know, ask questions. Even if it doesn't have anything to do with the NCLEX question, and you just have something that you want to ask regarding nursing, feel free to do so, okay? All right, so the other thing we talked about was, you know, the international nurse paperwork checklist. So we went through like different things that as an international nurse, you're planning on moving over to the States here. What are some things that you definitely want to keep close by, you know? So when you transition to the States, you have them. You understand? These are important things. And the first thing we're looking at were like your visa and immigration documents. Definitely have your passport ready. It must have at least 6 to 12 months that are active on it. You don't want it to be a case where, you know, you have a passport and you get into the States and then 3 months later you hear that your passport is expired. But usually they won't do that. So let's say 6 months. But usually they won't say, oh, but definitely they always want you to have at least 6 months active on your passport. All right. So definitely look at that. The visa is going to be dependent on, you know, your location, where you're going to be going. Is it the US, the UK, Canada? Depending on where you might be issued like a EB3 or a employment-based visa, or you might be issued like a H1B, which is like a work permit. So definitely make sure you find out what kind of visa it is going to be and make sure you have that with you. Then you want to ensure that you get your visa approval notice. Have those documents, you know, ready with you. Print them out, you know, save your receipts for your visa and your appointment confirmations because you might end up needing them at the embassy. Vaccination records are something as well that you definitely want to keep close by. So like your MMR, your COVID, flu, you know, all of those, hepatitis B. I would say go ahead and try to get titers done as well because those titers will always be available to you. And, you know, you can always bring it up when they say, oh, you need a COVID shot or whatever. You can always just have your results with your titers to see this is what my blood levels are showing. And usually some facilities do accept that. When it comes on to licensing and your professional documents, you definitely want to look at that. Get your nursing license from your home country, the registration letter or whatever it is that they issue. Have those, make copies of those. I would say get them in twos so you can always have them, you know, the original and probably a copy. And you keep them in a safe place. The NCLEX exam result is also something that you definitely want to have available with you. All right, you always want to have that. The English proficiency exam is the IELTS exam. Find out in your country where that exam can be done. All right, find out where the exam can be done because it is something that a lot of times, even though you're trained in like, you know, your country, the language is English. Sometimes, you know, depending on where you're going, they might want you to get an English-based exam. And the importance of this English-based exam is not just to say, yes, you know how to talk English, but at least when it comes down to providing safe care, you have your registered nurse license, and now you have English proficiency, paperwork. You can always provide safer care there because you're able to interact with your patient, explain certain things to them, and they can respond appropriately. So it helps with providing safer care for your patients. All right. So a lot of places will tell you that they will still need one. The credentialing evaluation is done through the CGFNS for the US here. Different countries will have their own credentialing, body that they use, but for the US, it's the CGFNS. So definitely you want to look at that and take advantage of the renewal. You understand? Sometimes they give you this extension that you end up have to pay probably like a $50 or less. Definitely take advantage of it because it's going to give you an extension for at least 4 more years. So you want to do that. All right. When it comes on to, your license verification, they're always going to want that. So definitely do get that from your nursing counselor, your nursing body, because they're going to be able to verify that you started working at this time and, the standing of your license. Make sure you have that. Then the other thing is that you want to ensure that you have a transcript. You can always request one original copy, or you can also do the unofficial copy. You understand? Get that one stamped and signed by your university and have it available. And as I say, it did work out for me in the sense where having it helped when they were trying to do my background check. Because a lot of times as an international nurse, the background check would normally come back, inconclusive. And because of the fact that I had my unofficial transcript, that helped with getting me started when it comes on to onboarding. So definitely get your transcript, unofficial transcript ready. If you can get one that is, the official, then that's a plus. And then also continuing education, certificates are very important. So definitely go ahead and do that. All right. The other thing is when it comes on to employment and recruitment documents, you want to ensure that you have your contract. You want to ensure that you have your job offer. All right. And it is signed. The recruitment agency usually will give you like a little package with information regarding their tax document and all. Definitely go ahead and keep that. And you might need a professional liability insurance. Not all the time you might need one, but it's always good to get one to protect you in the event that something does happen. Because even though the companies will usually do that, it doesn't mean that they're protecting you to the full extent. All right, because everybody's always going to need the cheaper way out in terms of certain things. A letter of experience is not so bad. You can have one where you just chart it up, write up things like, what your experience in and the conditions, medications, things like that. Have your manager sign off on it to say, okay, then she agree with all of your skills and, your knowledge of different things. And then at least you can have that to say you are proficient at certain things, when it comes on to you applying for a job, if it is needed. And always go ahead and get some professional references, ready. So nothing is wrong with having 2 professional references, information, or even 3. Just get them ready in the event that something does happen. They're trying to call one, they can't get them. You can always say, okay, then here's a second number or third number for this person. Hi, how are you doing? Thank you for tuning in. I hope your day is going good. All right. And then now when it comes on to your personal and identity documents, you want to make sure that you have a birth certificate, and make sure you do copies as well. Make sure you do copies of them. You make sure you have copies of them. Your national ID, you can have copies of that. Your police record, make sure you have copies of that, and make sure it is something that is active, because the police record only is valid for like 1 year, depending on your country. I know for my country in Jamaica, that was just it. All right. And you also want to have your medical records, and as I say, get copies of them. If you can get disc with your CT scans, if you have underlying problems and you have your scans, go ahead and get them. It doesn't hurt. It's not anything that is going to break your back. All right. So just go ahead and get them. So when you get here to the state, at least when you're checking into your medical, offices, the providers, and you're telling them that, this is what is happening, but you've had done tests before, you did MRIs and all, just to save you some extra money when you get here in the state. Just walk with all of the information that you can to prove that yes, you have this happening in your belly or this happening in your breast. So they don't have to be doing all of this extra tests because they want proof of it. You already have proof on your CD, your disc, so it's easy to just provide those information and they will use it later on to get the necessary information from that. And then, when it comes on to travel and relocation, make sure you have your flight tickets, your itinerary. Make sure your company does give you a very detailed itinerary. So when you get to the airport, you're not feeling like a fish out of water. You know exactly where you're going, who is picking you up, what time they're picking you up, things like that. What color vehicle you're supposed to be expecting, things like that. So find out all of those information and have it handy. Another thing is when it comes on to your accommodation, your lease agreement, make sure you have those, you sign them, find out where you're going, things like that. And also have emergency contact numbers. I know a lot of times you might have relatives overseas, get their information so you can have them as emergency contact here in the US or wherever, as well as in your own country. All right. And then, as I say, store all of your copies, store all the important information digitally so that way you can always retrieve it. If it means you're going to save them and then send it in an email to yourself, definitely do that. If you have cloud access, upload it to your cloud after you scan them in. And so you can always have them, and make sure you just label them. If it's a birth certificate, you go ahead and say this is Stacy's birth certificate, John Brown certificate, and put them in folder. Personal information, medical record, transitioning, nursing, whatever it is you want to label your folders as, then go ahead and do that so it's easier for you to find your information. The more organized you are, the less headache you will have. All right. And as I say, just make sure you're making documents. You're making copies of your documents. Do multiple copies as well. When it comes down to your marriage certificate as well as your birth certificate, those original documents, you want to make sure that, if you can go ahead and apply for extra copies from your country, do that. Because, sometimes you might send off the original copies to get your passport later on, or even you're applying for your immigration, your citizenship. You have to send off the original copies. You don't want it to be a case where you just walk with one copy to the US here and then you send it off and then something happens, who knows. But let's just say something do happens and that birth certificate got fire got on it and it's no more, or it's misplaced before it actually could get delivered to you, it's no more. You're gonna need something here in the state to prove that you were born in this space. So if you can have 2 original copies with you on the time when you're arriving in the state, that is a plus in the event that something like that does happen. All right. Hi, Scott, how are you? Oh my word, Scott, it has been such a long time. I know. Yeah. So it's Stacy. You can say Stacy. You know that I've been going through like a lot. I quit 2 of my jobs. My nursing job, I just started this one. And I was on vacation. But then again, as I said, content creation is hard, it's difficult. I'm trying to get my page up and running. Like, I want it to be a little bit more organized. I know I've said that a few times, but I think the company that I was working with was just taking a lot out of me, and that was just it. I couldn't really focus a lot on my channel. I know it's gonna take a little time, but it was just taking too much out of me. I find myself spending like hours on the road, which is fine because that's a part of my job. But then when I get home, I cannot even find time to brush my teeth sometimes. Well, I brush my teeth, but just I say, it's just so much because I have to be charting when I get home on the same amount of patients, and it feels as though sometimes my entire day, is like just working. So I was able to finally, leave the company. They're not happy, but I'm happy because no one got prison back way. And yes, I left and kind of, trying to get my foot back out there with certain things. in terms of working and everything, because as a nurse practitioner, that is, you understand? So it has been okay, but as I said, there's just like so many things that were going on, and then I took vacation. But even before that, because this is what I resigned my job. I resigned one of my job in June, and then in the same time I sent off the resignation for the other one, and then she called me and she was like, "Why are you resigning?" And I'm like, I'm kind of sick and tired of what is going on, and because I already had sent her the resignation, we kind of just spilled the bean, just start talk, and she was like, "Oh no, I don't want you to go. You're the only adult gerontology nurse practitioner I have." So I'm like, "Okay, but you need to fix certain things in your practice. Like, there are certain things I cannot tolerate." And she said she was going to work on it. But then she never did a work on anything. So probably like 2 weeks later, I tell her, I said, "Look, I send about the resignation letter, because this don't make no sense." You understand? So I quit that one as well. And then I got another job. So I'm working on, I love the company. I love their charting system. I like their transparency and everything about it. So this one is going okay, but I haven't gotten my max on my patients, and I'm working on that. But apart from that, it's good. It's good. I'm not like, drowning in seeing a million patients in one day, things like that. No, I try to see like 5 patients or 6 or 7 patients, depending on where they're at. And that's about it. So it's a little bit better. Trying to catch up on charting, because this is what, a month, 2 months in now. So I'm trying to not necessarily say catch up on charting, but when you're just meeting a patient, you're building your own notes. There's so many things you have to do on the first visit. So that's just what is happening. But when I am seeing them for the second time, it's going to be a little bit easier, because I would have been familiar with them. Certain medications, I would have already checked them. So I won't have to do like the ton of things that I would normally do on the first visit. So that's the only thing. But it's getting better. And I'm seeing where, in terms of social media, things are going to be coming, a little bit closer in terms of to how I want my page to be, with the consistency and everything. So I'm working on that. But are you on TikTok? If you're on TikTok, follow me on TikTok at ThinkNursing1. I share a lot of content over there as well, because it's so much easier to use than, YT here, because you have so much things that you have to put into the algorithm. But not on the algorithm, but on the page in order to upload a video. You understand? And so you have more traction on TikTok, and I actually like it, but I'm trying to still get persons over here. But because, as I say, time is the problem with me right now. So I just go to TikTok and just start talk, upload it, done. I don't really need to do anything, and it get views, and I'm getting followers. So so I'm working on that, and hopefully I will eventually be a little bit more consistent on YT. So this week I'm trying, well, the week done already because they're Wednesday, but I'm trying to, do my live on the Wednesday as planned. I know it was a little bit late because I was on TT doing another live earlier. So, but I'm trying to get everything organized and back and, up and running, trying to do the edits on the video so I can upload them correctly, because usually I just upload the video. The video don't really have a name until I type it in the, where you see that section where it tells you the name of the video, and then naming the video is like so hard. It's just like a lot. It's a lot. Social media is a lot, man. It come like you want to breed me. No, so, and then TikTok feels like you're in another university. It is so annoying over there when they start sending you like, oh, you need to do this, you need to go live. No, you need to do that. I'm like, seriously? I don't want nobody to tell me when to go live. I go live when I feel like, you understand? But it is like so annoying over there with the amount of notifications that they send you. But me just turn off the notifications, and I go live whenever I am available. When I feel like, I just go over there. They will tell you what to post, like they want you to go ahead and say, this is trending, and create a post about it. But sometimes I already have something in my mind that I want to talk about. And because I don't sit down and be like, creating the content like that, because I haven't gotten a schedule where I can say, okay, then on Thursdays it's gonna be content creation, it's a little bit difficult for me to do that. So until I have, like, say for example, my plan is to work only the 3 days, see 5 patients on each day, then the remainder of the day is mine. I can do my notes, and then on like a Thursday, Friday, I can say, okay, then this is for content creation, and this is what I'm gonna be doing. So yeah, that's just how it is. That's just how it is. I know it's a mouthful. If you're still here, Scott, say something. Say something. Oh my word. But yeah, that's just it. But thank you so much for tuning in, whoever you two are. Really appreciate you for sticking around. All right. But yeah, I'm trying to be a little bit more consistent, and that's just it. But I find where a lot of persons, especially in Kenya, you know, a lot of Kenyans are out there that are on my page, and you know, they're watching the videos and seem to be asking a lot of questions, so I try to answer them as best as possible. And from there, hello, how are you? I see you. Yeah, I see you. All right, I see you. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Stacy. What's your name? All right, so I tell you this thing here, no, it just feels so weird. It feels so weird because I'm accustomed to sometimes I'll see the faces of the people, but no, I really can't see who is here, but that's fine. All right, that's fine. But yeah, I was just sharing like information regarding, you know, like the international nurse like checklist paperwork, and I spoke about retrogression because we have a lot of persons who have applied for green cards. They've signed up with a recruiting company, and there has been like significant delays in them getting approval for their visa to come to the States. So I was just kind of talking a little bit about that, and you know, how they can go about with using the opportunity or using the delay to improve on their skills, you know, growing, you know, becoming a little bit more competent at certain things, such as like the English language, if that is not something that is their primary language. So when they get here, it can be a little bit easier with the transitioning process, and also with providing like safe care for the patients. So things like that I was talking about. So just in case when you get a chance, if you want to rewatch the video, all right. But if you don't, and you have a friend or two who is interested, is a nurse, feel free to go ahead and tell them about my page. It's Think Nursing. Subscribe, share the link with them, and have them come over and just join the family. And I do hope you guys will join as well. You four, I see you. So I hope you will join and ask any questions, and from there. All right. But until then, I will be here hanging out, and I'll be talking. So if you feel like you want to come back again, if you're going to be going, whichever one, you know, as I say, thank you so much for tuning in and stopping by. But you can always hang out and be my friend. All right. I think Scott is gone. Yeah, and I'm doing a transitioning series, like a nursing transitioning series, where we talk about different things. And as I say, there are some videos that are like 3 hours, 2 hours long. It has a lot of information that we are doing with like we have nurses in the UK, persons who have transitioned, talking about their experience with different companies. They're packed in those videos. So the videos are long, but it has a lot of information. So if you need information regarding how to get a car, you know, we talk about that, building your credit score, talking about your credit card, getting a credit card, housing, childcare, things like that is packed into those videos. It's just that it's a little bit difficult for me to edit them into smaller, you know, smaller videos that is easier to watch. So I think my goal is to try and do that, but I'm not 100% tech savvy. So if you are good with, you know, social media, and you are from Jamaica, or just let's just say, you know, you're good with social media, you know how to do that, then probably you can always go ahead and inbox me, and then I'll try to see if we can work out something to get some help with my social media platform. All right, but until then, I'm trying my best to upload as much as I possibly can, and hopefully you guys will watch it. All right, so that's just it. Oh, my name is Stacy, by the way. Stacy Ann. All right, so my page is Think Nursing. And as I say, follow me on TikTok at Think Nursing 1. and on YouTube here at ThinkNursing, and on Facebook at ThinkNursing, and I think on TikTok at ThinkNursing. All right. So TikTok, YouTube, no, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube is ThinkNursing, and then on TikTok it's ThinkNursing1. Couldn't get the ThinkNursing. Apparently somebody else had it. All right, so that's just it. So one of the other videos I did, and we also talk about, like, some persons were asking about, you know, like medical insurance as well. We talk about that. If you have a child, we talk about the CHIPS insurance that you can actually get for your children. So as I say, it has a lot of information that will benefit, you know, um, international nurses, or even if you're not an international nurse, the information can still help you as you are transitioning, moving from one country to the other. That will help you with you getting your, you know, get settled in. So definitely go ahead and look at that. And we also talk about the benefits of getting, like, you know, a direct hire versus going through the recruiting company. There was one young lady who talked about her experience with direct hiring. She did like it. It pays her more money than what the recruiting company was gonna be paying her. She wasn't, like, say, stuck in a job for a long time, you know, because with the recruiting company you are stuck in a contract for probably, like, say, 3 years, 4 years. She came over. It was a very easy process for her. She said in less than, I'm gonna say less than 6 months. I think it was before that. She says that she closed off her contract because of the amount of money they were paying her as a direct hire. So, you know, there are so many things you can look into. But as I say, I post them in the video. Yeah, you'll hear them talking about it. And yeah, there's just a lot of information out there. All right, so please check them out. I will definitely be playing the videos on Sundays. I'll premiere them on Sundays as well. So it can actually just run for the day because they're very long, and then I will premiere them in the week, like, you know, one at a time. Yeah, I'll premiere them like in the week, so you can always, you know, watch them. So go ahead and subscribe, and you know, just look out for the videos. All right, just look out for the videos. My page is mostly, you know, it's a nursing channel, or nursing, you know, nursing, yeah, a lot of nursing content I share here. But I also share things like, you know, if I go to Jamaica and I go on a farm, or if I go to a farm here in the US, I do videos like that. You know, travel content, something that is outside of nursing that can entertain you a little bit, you know, keep you a little bit more on the happier side of things. There are videos there that will make you cry because I talk about my story growing up in Jamaica. So definitely, you know, it's a little bit emotional. Probably not emotional for you, but, you know, when I talk about it, it's something that is emotional. So I share my story there because my page is supposed to be something that will encourage and inspire persons, you know, educate as well. And that's about it. Oh, and I want to do a foundation as well. So that's in the making. So if you are one of those persons who want to be a part of my, you know, my page, I want it to be a case where I can do like community service, have nurses or persons in general, but we want to do, like, you know, health fairs, go to different communities and just give back. Whether through, you know, doing some form of mission, whether or not it is, like, you know, health checks, whatever it is, donating like equipment. That's when we get rich. You understand? When we have money, when we have all for subscribers. But things like that I want to do, and I want to get other persons. So you have persons who have never been to, like, Jamaica, and they want to do, you know, do something. You can come on my team and we can plan for things like that. We want to go to Kenya. We want to go to different places. That's what I want to do. You know, travel to different places and just do a lot of community service, community work, give back, and you know, talk to nurses, hear how nurses in Kenya are working. You know, what is like going to school in Kenya, go to Nigeria, go to different places and see what it is like being a nurse there, what it is like working in the emergency room as a nurse in, you know, wherever. So that's what I want to do. So be a part of my page, you know, and grow with me until I can see like that. Because I envision myself with 4.0 million. I don't know where I get that number from, but that's where I see it, and I'm going to stay optimistic until I see that number. So slow and steady, we will win. All right. But yeah, and that's about it in a nutshell. All right. So go ahead and just say hi. I see 3 persons on the live here. At one point, I saw 0. So please just go ahead and say hi. It's not going to hurt. All right. It's not going to hurt you. You've been hanging on for a little bit, which means you're interested in something. Is either you're interested in the patois, or you're interested in the English, or my glasses is just too big. You understand? But something is there that is holding you 3 persons here. See, Christine is here. Hi, Christine. How are you? Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Are you a nurse? Yeah, so things like that is what I want to do for my page. But as I say, I created a page because of all of those, to motivate and encourage, inspire. And as I say, when I was moving to the States here, I never really had like a nurse from Jamaica or somebody from the Caribbean. You're a midwife. Okay, nice. I wanted to do that when I was in Jamaica. Yeah, but then I got the opportunity, so I took it, because I had my student loan that I needed to pay for or pay back at the time. So yeah, but as I say, I never had like persons that I could actually relate to or talk with. So when they talk about this networking, I needed that, but I couldn't find the right person to network with. You'll hear people talk about it, but we always say, if you hear somebody from your own culture talk about something, you probably understand it a little bit better, you understand, than another person explaining something, because they can say the cloud is white, but then when me look up and somebody else from my culture look up, the cloud look a little bit different, you understand? And that's how we see it versus how another person might, view it. So I just wanted that kind of platform, but at the same time, I want information not only for Jamaicans or Caribbean folks. I want it to be something that everybody can benefit from. And so that's how I started my page. All right. Yeah. So definitely check out the content. And as I say, they're long. I'm trying my best to get them short. But you can watch them in pieces, if you're not in a rush. Just watch them in pieces. But as I say, a lot of information in those lives that I did on TikTok. Because a lot of nurses over there or persons over there are interested in transitioning, and so they'll be sending me messages, or they'll be on the live just talking, asking questions, and they pop up on the screen. You send an invite, they pop up on the screen, they're talking, so you can actually hear them explaining certain things while I'm talking as well. So they're pretty informative. So as I say, if you're interested, based on the title, just feel free to go ahead and just sit down and grab a popcorn. You understand? And just think of it as a series. But I'm trying to limit them to the 1 hour. And just have them, like each day I'm trying to do that. And then from there. All right. Yeah. So are you in the States here now, Christine, or you're in your country? What country are you from? Okay, nice, nice. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so definitely do that, because as I say, it has a lot of information. I was talking with this young lady yesterday. So we're on the live yesterday. We were talking, and she was like, "Oh my word!" She was looking through, and she came across my page, and like some of the posts that I did made, she's like, she's going through the exact thing, and she wasn't so sure. So when she saw my video and I was explaining, because she has a 2-year-old, and I was talking about things like, if the child don't need to come at the time when you're doing your orientation, when you're transitioning, leave them home with somebody. And she's saying that no, she's going through orientation. She did left her 2-year-old in Jamaica, and she's now on, she's transitioning, she's on orientation, and she don't think she could have managed with the 2-year-old. So she was like saying thank you for the advice, because a lot of things that I posted, it's actually what is going on. So I was like, oh my word, I never really know that at these persons were taking my advice. So things like that, it makes me a little bit more motivated to provide the content. Not saying that it wasn't, because even though sometimes I might see my video and it has like 5 views, I know that the 5 persons that watch it, they get something from it. And even if it is one person, I know that they benefited from it. So I'm not really looking at the view like that. Eventually, you know, I always say the right person will see the content, find the content when it is time, and benefit from it. And if I do that, I feel good. You understand? So when she was saying it, and then the other folks were talking about it, like the Kenyans, they were talking about it. I'm like, wow, I never know. So they want me to do live stream, like, you know, throughout the week and post it up. So I'm trying to be consistent so they can actually put it in their calendar to say, okay, then on this day I'm gonna be doing live stream, you know, so they can get the information. But yeah, so that's what I am here for. Okay, okay, nice, nice. But Christine Gordon in Jamaica. Your name sound familiar. Your name sound familiar, or probably it's a. I think she was married to Gordon. That I went to school with. NCU. I don't think it's you though, because you should have said Stacy, because she always says Stacy. I'm learning being convinced, so you are making them big. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. I trying my best, you know, I trying my best to leave, you know, leave an impact on someone in my content. Yeah, trying my best. So, you know, that's just it. As I say, a lot of times, like, as I say, when I'm on the other platform, and I'm not, like, you know, trying to, but when I'm on the other platform, I think because, you know, they're typing and you can actually see, and, you know, they're so interactive over there. It feels, you know, like you're doing something. But sometimes I come over YT and there's nobody here, but I'm still talking, you know, I'm still talking because the content needs to go up. You understand? Whatever it is that I have, I'm sharing. It's no different than, you know, when I'm doing a video and I'm talking to the video itself. There's nobody there responding. So even when I go and I see zero, I'm like, okay, then let me just continue talking. It's a regular presentation I'm doing. It's just that it's like live, you know, so persons will pop on and off, and then from there. But I think one thing about it is that, you see, when it comes on to niche, when you have a niche, it's always a little bit difficult for you to find your subscribers, you know, your followers, and for persons to be like engaged in your content, because a lot of times, you know, you might not find the right persons might not find your page in the right time, and so that's it. So that's why I try to get additional things on my page, so when persons get onto it, they don't feel as though they're bored with nursing content. They can see me, you know, going to, not necessarily to the beach because I can't swim, but they'll see me going into a farm and we look at different things, you know, just something to kind of get you, you know, thinking about something else outside of nursing. Driving somewhere, just having fun, things like that, but nothing really like me showing up my body. You know them way there? Yeah, I'm not going to show up my body on all of those things just because I'm trying to get the views or the subscribers. But if you understand what I'm saying, I'm trying to just incorporate other things, simple things that, you know, day in the life of a nurse, like I can do my makeup, things like that, talk with you, and just make it a little bit more, you know, a little more friendlier. Because sometimes you go on a page and you just see nursing, 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 nursing. Yes, we understand it's the nursing brand, but then sometimes I kind of get bored. I want it to be a case where while you're watching my 2-hour video and you get bored, you can just close it for a little bit and go over and see me probably, you know, looking at a horse or a cow or something, and you start laughing about something that is happening in the video. Then you can always come back. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Hope you will enjoy your evening though, Christine. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, they will eventually come. All right. Thank you so much. So that's just it. But yeah. All right. So who is hanging on here? Hi, how are you doing? If you don't mind, can you just say hello so I can, you know, we can talk a little bit. Let me see. Yeah. All right. I guess you're shy like me. Not true. I totally understand. I totally understand. Hello, hello. How are you doing? Mm-hmm. As I said, just come back and watch the full video just in case you miss anything. Hi, Kia. I remember Kia. I remember you. How are you doing? I remember the name with the flower, but not the, we haven't seen each other. Well, you've seen my face. I haven't seen yours before. But yeah, how are you doing? I've seen that name before. Yeah. I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. I am doing fine. I am just, oh, I want you, if you're on TikTok, I want you to go ahead and follow me on TikTok. I think Nursing One. I did pin it down there. So definitely go there and follow me if you're on TikTok. All right. And I'll follow you back as well. But I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I have a new company that I'm working with and I do love it. I'm enjoying my job a little bit better now. All right. Feels like a nurse practitioner. Don't know what I was feeling like before. It was making me feeling so stressed out, like to the point, like, when they say you're stressed out and you're having pain. Yeah, man, that's what I was going through until I literally quit my job. I tell you, I never know that stress could actually, when they say stress will kill you, it will literally kill you. You understand? It will literally kill you. Because I tell you, that company had me stressed out left, right, and center. You understand? And one of my biggest fear was, I don't know if I was doing something wrong that I would, mess up my license and all of those things. So that was just it. I'm happy that, they do. I'm happy that they do, But I tell you, not until I left that job a couple of months ago, I actually am feeling like a normal person, like seriously like a normal person. Because when I tell you I was having so much pain, I thought I was having arthritis. Yeah, I was having arthritis. Go to the doctor and do a bunch of tests, x-rays and all of those things to look to see if I have arthritis. Everything come back normal. You understand? And not until I leave the job, like I was actually feeling no pain. The pain them gone. The pain on my fingers, my ankles, and I haven't done anything. Me not do anything except just resign the 2 job. Just call it a day and say, look, I'm not on my own. You understand? And I'm telling you, I am feeling so much better in terms of pain. Because I don't know where I was getting all of those pain. I couldn't tell you where I was getting all of those pain. I just feel like I was just like gonna be losing it. Not losing it mentally, but you understand what I say. Yeah, after a while it was just getting just too much. It was just getting too much. And then, when he comes onto the office and all, that's another story. So, but yeah, I'm happy that, I'm not there anymore with either of the two. I'm not there with them anymore. I'm happy about that. Miss some of the patients. Don't miss some of them, honestly. Because some of them were just too much. It's like you have to be running down the patients to get seen. And I'm like, if patients want to get, the care that they are requesting, you don't need to be running them down every single month to ask them to be seen. You understand? They should be available. You call them and you say, okay, then the nurse practitioner is going to be in the area around this time. Are you available? Yes or no? Yes, and that's it. You understand? But yeah, it was a little bit more difficult with those company. But no, I'm enjoying my new company. I have more I still have the flexibility, but it's a little bit better charting wise, the transparency. They allow you to practice as a nurse practitioner. Nobody not change up your orders and all them stuff there and make you miserable. You understand? Things like that. I do appreciate about this company. Definitely. Sometimes life frustrates us to make us make a change. I tell you, that was it. You see, and that was it when I was, working in the emergency room. I was working at this cardiac hospital, And I was so comfortable because I had my nurse practitioner license, but I'm like, do I know how to be a nurse practitioner? You're always having that doubt in your mind that you're probably not gonna be good at something. And I know I would have done a really good job. I know I would have done a really good job. But sometimes I was just there and I was like, no, sir, I'm not apply for that job here. I'm not gonna apply for this job. And persons be like, Stacy, go ahead and apply for the job. And I'm like, nope. Mm-mm. Because I was just scared of stepping out. And not until there was something that happened at the hospital. And I was like, you know what? This is not my own anymore. You understand? Not until I said, I'm gonna call it a day. I just sent in my resignation after I did my evaluation and just say, you know what, we're gonna part ways. We're gonna part ways because I'm not gonna be in this thing where I feel as though as a nurse you can't say anything, or if you do say something, it's like they want to um punish you for something that is not even your fault. So I say, you know what? I'm just gonna go about my business. You understand? I'm just gonna go. And it was around that same time, in that same week, I got the job as a nurse practitioner. And I was like, okay, then out of every time that I've been, all this time I've been applying for a job and all, like now is the time that, somebody's gonna be like, okay, we can take you on. You understand? And so I did accepted the job and started working, did the orientation like the Friday of the same week. Everything was just happening in the same time. And I was like, only because I got, only because I got. You understand? And I realized I was just getting too comfortable putting off this thing for a while. Because I did got my license. They got my license probably like 8 months heading to almost 1 year. But because I was just so comfortable, like, I love emergency room nursing and I just never really thought that I was gonna do well. But then I started working as a nurse practitioner. May I say, okay then, why was I even sitting down for so long? Because it feels as though it feels a little bit easier. Let's just say it feels a little bit easier. Yes, you have a little bit of a responsibility, and you have so much more autonomy. But as I say, when it comes on to the experience that I've gotten as an emergency room nurse, over the years, it has built me a little bit, or built me into a better person, into, becoming a really good nurse, I think. You understand? And ultimately, a nurse practitioner. So, yeah, when I started, it was pretty easy and it just feels like it's okay. You understand? It just feels like it's okay. So far, it has been good, and that's just it. Just need more money. You understand? Just need them to pay, like, well, not necessarily pay. I just need to get more patience and get more experience. We can actually bargain for, better rates and all of those things. But, slow and steady. You have to crawl before you walk. That's all. So I'm just again my experience, and then after I gain my experience, I can go and say, yeah, man, I have this amount of years. What are we talking about? Oh. So that's just it. So taking it slow. I'm happy with where I'm at right now. That's the most important thing. That's the most important thing. Definitely. Everybody needs more money. We can't get too much. Well, I don't really want too much, because sometimes you have too much money. And I think it turned us into, yeah, it start to affect up here and we start to make some really, really bad decision. So I just want to have enough money to be happy, make sure that my, everyday bills and everything is well taken care of. My family is good and that's it. You understand? I don't want it to be a case where I have too much and yeah, I start spending it. I guess probably, I don't think I would probably spend it, loosely. Because it's when you're poor, when you grow poor, you never have it. Not really, I'm not going to really use the word poor. Because when I use that word, it's like, yeah, you have some persons who are very, very, very low on the poverty line. Yeah, man. So I'm not going to really say poor because I've never been to my bed without, food. I've never walked to school without a shoes. Them kind of weirdness. I'm not going to really say it. It's just that when you grow up in an environment, you just feel as though if you don't have electricity, you're a poor person. You understand? Or if you never have running water, you feel as though you're poor. So I'm not going to really say poor because what I'm seeing in 2025, 2024 in the US here, and this is a first world country, Me not a rich person growing up, even though I never have any electricity. You know them way, I never have any water. I was rich. And that's how I'm gonna say it. So back in the days when life was like that, you know, I think if I am supposed to get a lot of money right now, I don't think I'm gonna like squander it on like, you know, unnecessarily. I think I'm still gonna be the kind of person that is gonna take care of the little that I have, the ton of money that I have, and I'm still gonna spend wisely. That's just me, you know. So yeah. But yeah, but I'm happy about the opportunity that I got to the US here. Not gonna lie, I'm happy about the opportunity, you know. So I just have to say thank you, Lord, a million times and more for the opportunity. Yeah. Where are you from, Kia? Did I ask that? Oh, so Christine is from Jamaica. Where are you from, Kia? If you're still here. That is something I cannot understand about society. People go to another country and then they thrive. Trinidad. Okay, you're from Trinidad. Okay, yeah, that's the thing. So a lot of times you probably find that when you are so it depends on where you go, because if there's a lot of opportunity there, then there's a way for you to thrive. It's just that sometimes you have persons here in the same country now that are not taking the opportunity, not making use of the opportunity that they have. And so you might find out that, they stay where they are at in terms of poverty, let's just say, or being poor. But I don't know. It's just, I guess it's a mindset. Sometimes when you want better for yourself, you want to get out of a situation, you push forward, you try to just do good. You just try to excel, climb the ladder, advance yourself, because you know that this is where you're at and you want better for yourself. So I think that's just it. I think that's just it. I think that's just it. So are you ready for is it carnival? You going carnival? I know lots of people talking about carnival right now. It's carnival in what, February next year? So why are you migrating? Yeah. That's the thing. That's the thing. That's the thing. Yeah, the unknown. But then again, if, as we say, if you network with people and you're able to see, how they're doing and they're progressing, then sometimes, you're stable, can, even though you're going into the unknown based on other persons, their response to certain things, then you might find out that you're probably better than your stable job right now. You understand? So it depends on where you're going as well. Yeah, that's just it. Mm-hmm. Okay, totally understand that. Totally understand that. And I don't know where you wanna go, but I'm willing to take you there. Yeah, that's what I wanted as well. But as I say, mine was more. Everything is changing, but I am still the same every year. Totally understand. I guess after a while, when you get over here, you're gonna find yourself in some situation like that as well. That's how you feel sometimes. But then again, you have, the US is so big, you can always change. You can always find something. You can always find something. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have so much opportunities here. There's so much opportunities here. So I don't think you're gonna feel as though, you're stuck. After a while, if you get annoyed with one place, just go somewhere else. Travel nursing is something that is huge. You can travel like over the entire country if you're feeling like, you want something totally different. So yeah, the opportunity is here, where you don't have to feel as though you're stuck in one. Orange to see you. How are you? Yes, I am up. You don't have to be feeling like you're stuck in, if you want a different weather, you can always try to go to somewhere else and experience it, you know. So that's just it. But the opportunities are gonna be here. So that's just it. hmm This minute I want to do travel nursing. The next minute I just want to do local contracts. The next minute I just want to stay, right on my yard and not do anything. So, and the opportunity in terms of to upgrade and do other things, that's a plus as well, Where we're from, sometimes we're limited because of the different you don't have that much hospitals in the proximity or close by where you can be like, okay, let me jump onto this one and see how this system is. So that's just it. But to get here, it's gonna be different. hmm You plan on advancing your career? And I just walk with a savior. Hi, welcome, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. I'm just here vibing a little bit. I was supposed to be doing some notes, and I say, all right, I'm gonna just kind of hang on until, yeah. But I'm not working tomorrow, so I might just do my notes tomorrow. But you can check out the entire live. I did talk about like retrogression, you know, the effects it is having on, like, you know, the nurses who have been signing up for the recruiting companies or have already signed up with them. And we're also talking about, like, you know, a checklist that you should have when you're transitioning, or just make sure you have that checklist going. Yes, I think I see you already. I love the drama. Oh, okay, yeah. ED is my background. Love it. I see. It's okay, but I just feel as though I was gonna be bored, a little bit bored, because I like to be all over the place. You know, not saying that I love chaos all the time, but yeah, I like the unknown. Yeah, like the unknown. I love the excitement of the emergency room, you know, the adrenaline rush. Yes, man, I love it. So that's just mine. Mm-hmm. Even though a lot of times, you know, you're working in the ED and you can't ever find break to to go to the bathroom. Sometimes you have to question yourself, is this something that you really want to do? You know, but after the day ends, you know, and you see what you've done, it's a really nice feeling. So you come back the next day, the same thing, and you complain about the ankle, you know, paining you. You're not getting a break, you're not getting a bathroom break, you're not eat anything. The day done again, and it's the same thing. You feel good about the work that you put in, the life that you save, and it's just a good feeling. So you just continue doing it. That's just it about emergency room that I love. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm gonna try to be a little more consistent on doing my live. I think I'm gonna do them a little bit earlier than the time I come on. Yeah, I'm trying to do my schedule so I can actually say, okay, then consistently I'm gonna be on at 8 p.m. on, like, you know, on Wednesday, things like that. Probably do like pop-up live like during the week. Mm-hmm. So that's just it. So what time is it now for you? Is the same 10, like 10:19 here? Because it's 10:19 for me now. Ah, you're not gonna sleep yet? Mademoiselle, please do not be late for the embassy. If it's 5 o'clock, an embassy appointment should have been there by 12 o'clock. But anyways, yeah, definitely. I was gonna say enjoy your night. All right, and all the best. I think you're gonna get it. I know you're gonna get it. So, oh, it's 11 o'clock. Okay, okay. Yeah, you should be sleeping by now so you can go there and get your rest for your interview. But anyways, enjoy your evening or your night. All right, and thanks for keeping me company. I appreciate it. All right. You're welcome. Mm-hmm.